flag. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call.
Bill?
Yes.
Sean?
Yes.
Betty? Here. Chris?
Here.
Hank? All of us.
Okay, approval of prior meeting minutes. A motion to approve or adjust?
Yeah, I have to make that one. I typed wrong. Should have been 61, not 50. 50. 60 instead of 50. Yes, I gotta make that.
This is in reference to the paragraph about the truck.
The truck, yep.
Okay.
Get the wrong,
Does everybody understand what that is and where it is?
on the front page.
Do we have a motion to accept the minutes as adjusted?
I'll make the motion.
I'll second it.
Okay, we have a motion, a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Opposed?
Okay, carried. Our attorney, Mr. Dunn, has asked for a little time. You're on.
All right, two issues that I'd like to just address with the board tonight, and both stem from a phone conversation that I received a little over a week ago from Councilman Novak. We had a nice discussion in regard to multiple events that have occurred within the town over the last month or so. One involving the purchase of the Pizza Hut building. One of the things that I'd like to ask the board, because of the discussion that we had, was whether the board's intention was to purchase the Pizza Hut without entering into a purchase agreement, or to enter into a purchase agreement with certain conditions being part of that purchase agreement to buy that, and specifically things like inspection contingencies. Just to clarify and make sure that the board has felt that they've had the opportunity to inspect that building to their satisfaction before the building's purchased. So maybe Bill, you can answer what
The
your
motion was to
intention
purchase,
Okay.
not to enter into a purchase offer. The
Okay.
county offered us that building as a result of their acquisition at tax sale.
Okay.
So all we can expect from them is a deed that has no covenants
Okay.
at all, no guarantees. And we also don't know exactly where we're going with that building. Maybe we will never occupy it. There is a lot to be sorted out. And survey and all this site work and inspection work by outside vendors, I had felt at the time, and the way that it was introduced and the way it was passed after discussion, was that we're not going to do all that.
Okay.
That's where we are.
Okay, so the reason I think that I felt it was an important question to ask is because based on our conversation, it appeared to me that we could get a unanimous vote. At least it was indicated by Councilman Novak that there would be a unanimous vote to enter into a contract for the purchase of the Pizza Hut. And I thought that if the county had not made a decision, that might promote that and cause that to move forward. But correct me if I'm wrong, the county has made a decision
They
at
passed
this
it
point
last
in
night,
time.
yeah.
Okay, so anyway, that was for the purpose of trying to get a unanimous vote from the board here so that process could move forward.
I appreciate the fact that in a telephone conversation, Mr. Novak felt that he could also speak for another board member by saying to you that you could have a unanimous decision. I would want to say something to Hank about that.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to hear from Chris, well, you can have a unanimous decision if you conform with what I want. We're not backing up. No.
Yeah.
The
And-
decision has been made.
Yeah.
the county has accepted, and we will proceed to transfer the property.
Yeah, sounds good. So I'm glad that's clarified. Look forward. The second issue that came up in the conversation with Councilman Novak that I want to address was a comment made to me that indicated that Councilman Novak and Councilman Vandenberg felt that my wife Kirsten and I were taking sides with the three other council members as a result of our position in advocating and or helping to move forward the purchase of the Pizza Hut. And what I informed Councilman Novak of is that we were hired to represent the town of Palatine, and that when a board decision is made, whether it's 3-2, 4-1, or unanimous, whatever board decision is made, we are hired as the attorneys for the town to advocate and promote that decision. And so that I felt that Councilman Novak and Councilman Vandenberg were in error to think that we had sided with the board because we somehow believed that it was our personal opinion that the town board move forward with that purchase. We're not here to make a decision for the board, but once that decision has been made, we're going to advocate that position and try to move that forward to the best of our ability. I believe that and I just want to clarify to all the council members that is always what we are going to do. We are going to side with the decision of the board and help promote that. And it may feel at times like we are taking sides.
You are.
But that is our role. Our role is to represent the town and to promote its decisions. In that regard, there was an incident at the town planning board meeting, the last one, where my wife was confronted by Councilman Vandenberg and called a dumb bitch.
No, that is not the case.
That's the information I received.
Rusty
Whatever was
Capiche
said.
interrupted me and I said something rude to him. What I said to your wife is she was making the law up as she went along. That's what I said.
Well,
did not
Councilman
ever-
Vandenberg,
I
let
did
me
not
finish
ever under
speaking.
any
let
circumstances
him
call
finish speaking.
her a
It's his
dumb
time.
bitch.
Okay, I understood you did.
Boy, somebody poisoned your mind on that one.
I don't think so.
I think so.
Let him finish
I
speaking.
know you've spoken
Not to
a
women.
little confrontationally with my wife when
This
I'm
is
not
not the
here.
venue for an argument. This
Okay.
is the
So-
venue.
But I don't like
For
being,
Mr. Dunn
I don't
to
like
speak.
being misquoted.
I don't like being quoted for not knowing conflict of law procedure. So I want to point out to
Sure.
you that no board member is to present themselves before another board of this town and advocate for somebody else's purpose, and that's what she told you were not to do.
I got Mr. Ayers' opinion. He says you're wrong on that. He is a lawyer.
We are not wrong,
You are.
okay? No, our conflict of law says
No,
clearly.
you made that up and inserted it in the law.
Secondly, it is also a conflict to go before another board and advocate as a board member
That's
or
true.
as an individual
No.
against a board decision, because you have an oath to uphold the decision. You may present your defense, you may present your dissent, but once the decision is made, you don't go out and oppose the decision of the board.
I'm in total
Okay.
agreement with you, except if you don't go as a board member, you may speak in another board.
Absolutely, you may not, because you're wearing another hat in opposition to your position of the board, and that is a conflict of interest.
I already know the answer.
Yeah. Well, you've just been told by another attorney that you're incorrect, sir.
And I'm a litigator in this town and you're an advisor, and I'm telling you that I will speak, not as a board member, but in other venues if I choose to do so.
Okay. You may choose that, and I'm here to recommend to the board two things. One, that I believe Councilman Vandenberg needs additional sexual harassment and hostile workplace training. because of his behavior and his confrontation with my wife. And two, that he needs to act with decorum and not represent himself as a base individual in front of the council members or my wife. If you would like to address that type of thing, then I'd appreciate that you do it to me instead of my wife. Now, we're attorneys and we're thick-skinned, but a number of the things that you said about us, Councilman Vanderberg, has been inappropriate, and a better way to have done that was to ask us our opinion and look at the law with us and see why we arrived at the decision we arrived at, and rather than criticizing us and
Greg, you're
putting
stating a legal
information.
opinion, it's not a.
I'm the attorney for the town, I think that's my role.
But I can get another attorney that says that you're not right. Never called your wife a name, respect her, think she's brilliant. Never called her a name. She and I were having a legitimate argument when somebody behind us surprised me by interrupting the two of us, and I did say something nasty to him. And I agree with you, I agree with you. I did not act with decorum, but toward Kirsten, I've never done anything personally insulting, nor ever, under any circumstances, sexually harassed her or any other woman that works for this town. Thank you.
But as a board member, what you said to the other public individual was inappropriate too.
I agree with
and
that.
unethical and
I agree with
unprofessional.
that. I agree with it, and that other individual told me that I should be disenfranchised because I've only lived here for 18 years. He lives in Florida.
But he's a taxpayer here.
I don't care.
So
You
it
should
would-
care, you're a
He's
board
not-
member.
He's not one of our constituents.
It would be my recommendation to the board that we be above reproach
I
in our
agree.
language, in our actions, that we should give people the freedom to have dissenting voices. They should be expressed professionally, and we should not get into altercations as a result, and we should be reserved in what we say.
And I think when a lawyer and I are having maybe a little bit heated, but basically a civil discussion, what's the word that you use? Like, was it honking from the audience or?
No, I would prefer not to litigate this here because I'm going to speak.
Okay.
Again, but I understand your frustration.
Heckling.
The
Heckling from the audience.
From the crowd is really
Yeah.
base and actually not appropriate at all.
Yeah. And that had more or less gone away until it was resurrected by Rusty Capich. So I never said anything to Kirsten. I wouldn't ever in a million years say anything like that to her. I don't know who gave you that information, but it's utterly not true.
Well, I accept what you're saying to me face to
If
face.
she felt bad about our discussion, I apologize to you and her, but I still think that she was wrong because she was telling me that I was losing my franchise as a citizen to speak in a variety of venues, and I don't agree with that.
What I want to caution the board members on is appearing before any board and appearing to advocate for anything other than for their own interest because of the potential to influence the board because of your position as a councilman. And that's where the conflict of interest can arise. I'm not saying that you were going to cause one to arise because I don't know what you were going to speak about, but.
You don't know if I was gonna speak or not.
No, correct, but I think that you weren't the only council person cautioned about doing that because it had occurred in the past, so
Good heavens.
just want
Okay.
to clarify that.
Thank you.
Hey, Greg, I just want to thank you. Our conversation was enjoyable and civil, and we just flushed out a number of ideas.
Yeah.
I would say that as far as saying unanimous, I just said frankly that Hank had come to me for the same information that we have. As a matter of fact, we haven't handed any money. We don't own that building, yet, correct?
As far as I know, I haven't been asked to
Okay.
review any deed or this.
Okay, that's fine, because I do have a motion for these ideas, just like we discussed at our phone conversation, because as you alluded to, if we were to buy a piece of real estate, if we were going to buy a house, we'd probably go through the inspection process or some sort of inspection process. So
It is an option, and I didn't want, I think maybe Bill, you thought I was indicating Hank did agree with it. Chris indicated he thought it could be unanimous, and I just thought if the county had not made the decision, that having a unanimous vote might help the process move forward.
Deal's done, and we're not buying a residence.
Yeah. Accurate, right, so that.
We're buying a
that is-
building that
is
was a
one option.
restaurant and
Correct.
contemplating an office occupancy.
I appreciate it. I'm going to present my motion today under old business, and we'll see how it flies. But I appreciate that, and I appreciate your time on that. Well, while I have you, Greg, since you're talking, I do have something that I just wanted to bring up. I just wanted to get your opinion. Here, I have one for every copy, every member of the board here. This is Town Law, Section 62.
If my memory serves me correctly, the town attorney indicated he would not be listening or taking up individual council members' issues without going through the board and having the board contact the attorney. Somebody has been complaining our attorney bills are too high. If we have 5 or 6 people going to the attorney with an issue, our attorney bills will continue to be high and get higher. I suggest that the board members refrain from even looking at the paper and have it brought up at a board meeting, and we will discuss it, and then we will decide whether it's an issue that should go to the attorney or not.
I'm sorry, I just presented you with I just wanted to bring up this piece of town, from the Association of Towns and Town Law. He's speaking, it's his time. I thought it's appropriate that we just, I just wanted to get my head around this to make sure I was correct on this, because it has to do with procedure. I want to make sure I'm right. Are you saying I can't bring it up, sir?
I'm not saying you can't bring it up. Go right to it.
Okay, thank you so much.
Do your thing.
Thanks, I appreciate it. So Greg, this is Town Law number 62 on meetings, and paragraph 2 says that for all non-scheduled meetings, each town board member should have 2 days written notice on the meeting. And I think there was some confusion that posting a notice on the bulletin board was complete for the town board members. And because this is a separate town law on meeting notice to board members, would this supersede Town Law 63 on public notice if this specifically has to do with the town board members?
I think that should be addressed to the person who is involved in the issue, and then if we need a legal opinion, we will seek it.
Well,
Linda, this is the same issue coming up again. Linda researched it. I think her research is adequate. I don't think we need to pay for an attorney's opinion or an attorney's time at a board meeting to resolve it.
that's fair enough. You have a copy. The June 12th meeting was in clear violation of Town Law 62. It's null and void. Anything that happened at that meeting is null and void. You can ask the town attorney after the meeting. Thank you.
That's all I have to say.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, next, Highway Superintendent's report.
All right, since last month, we got guys using vacation, summertime. General small maintenance repairs on vehicles. We're still working on the Freightliner. We haven't done much on doing, trying to do it on rainy days. With short help, it's not much getting done on it right now. They're currently mowing second pass, been cutting trees and brush. Pretty much routine as usual. One thing I do want to bring up to the board, I was approached by a resident who lives on a dead-end town road, wants to buy the road from the town. I called the Association of Towns. The answer I got was, we cannot sell them the road because it's a public highway, and the only way you can discontinue a public highway is lack of use and maintenance for 6 years. Well, it's kind of ironic that the guy that wants to buy the road is the only guy that uses the road, but that's the answer I got. I didn't know if he was the only landowner on the road. I pulled up Montgomery County GIS today, and he's the second landowner on the road. So I don't know if it's something we can pursue. It's not my cup of tea.
Well, nor can the board issue an opinion that I feel is appropriate. That's an issue that should go to our attorneys. If the board is interested in pursuing the issue, they might just as well lay it right out as Josh Pont, and it's up where the old mill inn is, and the old bridge. And boy, would I love to get rid of the old bridge. So,
Well, that bridge is a county bridge anyway.
it's gonna be in the creek pretty quick, someone's gonna have to clean it up. All right, and we own it, okay? The town owns it, I understand. So, what's the board's pleasure with this item?
I mean, before you guys say anything, I don't think you can get rid of a road that has more than one landowner on it.
Well, at what point and where is the
Unless
other
that
resident?
landowner is willing to sell his portions of the guy that wants to buy the land. Because believe it or not, as you go in Old Mill, on the left side there, where we turn around with the plow truck, that's a different landowner than Josh Pont's side.
Hmm.
At one time, the driveway that Josh Pont uses used to loop up around by that old barn and come out onto Route 5.
Yep.
But over time, they split the lot up into a couple lots. Now there's somebody else using that driveway, and Josh's driveway is down on the old mill.
Yeah.
So it was kind of ironic to me that the state attorney said that we can't sell them a road because they're using it. So it was just kind of weird.
I think we need a practical,
I mean, it's
Application of
happening,
the law.
it's happening more and more. There's a lot of, not just in our township, there's a lot of townships that have dirt roads or whatever, blacktop, whatever, with one house at the end. So, you know, that
back
road
in the
is,
40s and 50s, it was common practice for a landowner to come to the town and have the town deeded over the driveway, and now we're maintaining driveways. That was a common thing back
that's
in the
all.
40s.
I heard a lot, you know, we're plowing Amish driveways, you know, pretty much, because a lot of these dead ends, you know, the Amish had bought the farms, and you're plowing into the milk house and turn around and coming back out.
So here's a chance that, I would like to know what legally we can do. I don't know.
How's the other landowner feeling? You don't know.
I haven't said nothing to that landowner. I mean, I'm looking at a map on my computer that I'm pulling up in Montgomery County and then town of Palatine and that little section.
Well, it depends too on where you draw the line that you're deeding the road to someone else. Maybe in front of this other landowner, or
Well, it's
maybe
all
behind the
guardrails.
other
He
landowner.
would have zero access to his land if you were to sell the road. He'd have zero access to the road,
Maybe
to the
ban
land.
that.
We probably can't get it done then.
I'm guessing you can't, but I mean, that's not for me to decide.
So he owns that triangle piece between the road and
No.
the guide rails for the state land.
Well,
for the
guy does,
state
yeah.
road.
Yeah. That 60, starts out 60 feet wide and it goes to like 160 feet at the creek. And it's only 400 feet long or
Yeah.
something like that.
I can hear Josh now. Well, suppose I buy that triangle, then I'm the only guy.
Well, then he-
Then
I
we
would-
gotta render an opinion of some
Right,
kind.
but that would, to me, that would seem like the first step. But if he goes and buys that, then he still may not be able to buy the road.
That's why we almost have to answer the question now about a road with a bridge on the end and deeding it to someone else. If we have an answer to that question, we can give him an intelligent answer on whether he should try to buy that triangle or not.
Right.
His business is expanding. I'd like to be as accommodating as we can for the man. He'd like to have the room.
In Tangier, they had just the opposite situation where someone came in and wanted to buy a piece of land, and then the bridge was inadequate, and I think they're talking about whether or not they have to change the bridge out there. So it's actually the other way. It was abandoned, and now someone wants them to take it over, which, who knows what happens in the future here. Then it's never maintained again, and then I think
Yeah, but
we have to get it.
we can't stop maintaining it because if there's ever a fire at Josh Potts' house, we're responsible for keeping the road open to his driveway.
Right, we have to have a minimum
Right.
width and turnaround for the truck and so forth, so I understand. So, right, we can't just abandon and say off it goes.
Right, we can't just stop plowing it. I mean, we do, other than mowing the grass, there's nothing to do. It don't need blacktop, it don't need coal patch, don't get no traffic. But other than plowing it, you know, if we don't plow it for 6 years, then we could deem it, you know, but then there's still a second landowner on it, and then it gets split down the middle, half goes to that landowner and half goes to that landowner.
You still haven't answered this question.
Right, still haven't answered what he's asking.
Artie, there's three property owners. The guy that has the farm across from the old church, he owns that house where his son was staying down where the bridge is closed.
That's on the other side, Chris, or
Yeah, he owns up to the bank, and that's where, across the creek, up to the bank, because Josh had his land surveyed. I was talking to Josh today.
oh, okay.
He can't believe that guy owns up to the bank. And he was gonna start slamming postage signs, and Josh would be looking out the house, looking at postage signs.
And I just, like I said, all I do is brought up Montgomery County GIS, which is probably the same map Leanne goes by, you know, and it don't show property, it's
Yeah.
a closed guess, but that's all. I didn't even know it was the second one there, let alone third.
Well, he couldn't believe it either, but yeah, he's got